evening, Metal Faithful. Welcome to the Metal Hammer of Doom. I am your host, the Mandated Reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And tonight on the docket is the fifth studio album by Australian deathcore band, Thy Art Is Moida. It's Moida. The name of the album is Human Target. It was released on July 26, 2019. It was the first album with drummer Jesse Beeler following the departure of Lee Stanton. Joining me tonight to dissect and review this album is the one and only disapproving dad, Jesse Starcher. How do you do, sir?
Spectacular, Mark Radulich. I'm glad to be back here once again. We got any kid stories to tell? Because I got a sad one.
You have a sad one?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So, took my son to kindergarten testing today. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to see if, I guess, last minute if he can test into kindergarten or whatever. But he made it, no problem there. The sad story wasn't to do with my kid; it was to do with somebody else's child. So this, as I sat down, one of the teachers brought back a young boy who was testing and brought him back to his dad. And she says, "Oh, hey, he did a great job, blah, blah, blah." She goes, "I noticed that you wrote down," she's talking to the dad. She goes, "I noticed that you wrote down on the sheet that he prefers to be called Charlie." And he goes, "Yeah." The teacher goes, "Well, when I talked to him, he said that he actually prefers to go by Charles." And the dad looks at him like, "What the fuck?" He's like, so he looks at him, he goes, "You want your teachers and your friends to call you Charles?" And the kid looks up at him and says, "Yeah." And I mean, he could not believe his ears. And I sat there and thought about this. I was like, 5 years, this dad had been calling his son Charlie. Now his son in this, I don't know if it's just this feeling of emancipation, but he steps foot into fucking kindergarten and he's like, "No, I shall be called Charles." It's like, dude, I felt sorry for the dad because he definitely looked confused. Like, why in the world would my son want to be called Charles? But his son was like, "Yeah, Charles it is."
Yeah,
So,
you can never tell what direction your kids are going to go in. Like, there are some things about my kids, which I'm not going to spend the whole podcast talking about this.
oh, come on, let's meander. No, these people love it.
Do it. Start already. Start talking. No, there's a million. Excuse me. There's a million and one things that these kids do and say and all about that. I would have never thought that, like, my offspring would be that way. Like, there were certain things that I figured at least one of my kids would pick up from me. I figured at least one of my kids would, have my sort of abrasive, ridiculous sense of humor, and my son definitely does.
Mm-hmm.
One of my kids has definitely got a flair for the dramatic, and likes to be entertaining. Which I definitely was as a kid. So, and to this day, still as an adult. So, like, but then there are other things where it's just like, how did you come from me? Like, I never would have thought that the children would be that way. So, you never can tell, and they will pull some surprises on you. So
yeah, that would have been something. Just that guy, 5 years, he'd been calling his son Charlie, and
I think Lily tried that once, where she tried to say her name was Lily, and I'm like, knock it off, your name is Lily, shut up. You'll be called what I say you're going to be called, God damn it.
Beacon of understanding, Mark Radulich.
Shut your mouth. Shut up and learn your times tables. Jonas, thankfully, because his name is Jonas, and we don't around the house I shorten it to Joe, but that's not what I want the teachers to call him. It's not what I expect him to be called. I expect him to be called Jonas. I think the worst though is that occasionally he gets called Jonah, and we always get the inevitable question: "Oh, did your name match the Jonas? The Jonah?"
Hold on a second.
Yeah. So yes, some people call him Jonah, which is wrong. But we also get, did you name him after the Jonas Brothers? And I'm like, no, assholes.
Nope. Wrong group.
Yep. He was named after a Weezer song because we couldn't agree on anything else. All right. So let's talk about Thy Art is Moida.
It's Moida.
It's Moida. Boy, I bet the people who listen to this consistently are really getting tired of that.
Just talk to me for a second about every fucking plug for the last month and a half.
Do you accidentally say it to other people?
All the time. It's like, Moida. Moida.
Why are you suddenly Jewish? Anyway, are you familiar at all with Thy Art is Murder? Have you heard of them before? Have you heard any of their stuff?
No. Have not. This is the first time I've ever jumped into a full album by them. I can't even think if somebody suggested these guys to me. I swear I've heard the name of the band before, but I don't know if I've listened to any of their music. So, brand new.
I get like them, Fit for an Autopsy, and I think there's Beyond the Buried in Me or something like that. I can't keep up with some of these band names, but that's the thing. Like these long names that kind of revolve around the death metal scene in some way, shape, or form. I get them all confused. So I saw Thy Art is Murder was on the schedule and they were dropping a new album. I'm like, we should give these people a listen just so I can like have an imprint in my mind of what they sound like. So I don't keep confusing them with Fit for an Autopsy or some other band. All right. So let's not belabor this any further. This is the title track of this album. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. This is the title track of this album. This is Human Target. Oh, love it. That's my shit right there. See, we were talking about this before we started the show tonight. I don't dislike growly vocals. I think, for me, my problem with the death metal genre laid more in the musicianship than it did in the growling vocals. Like, that never really bothered me, and I don't mind the sameness of the vocal stylings. We really can't understand a lot of the lyrics that they're singing, or growling, or yelling, or whatever. My problem was a lot of it was just too reliant on blast beats. It was too... there was no groove to it. This has tons of groove. This had a good breakdown. This had a nice rolling sound to it. So I was digging it.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one positive aspect that I've got from listening to this band. I was not a fan of the vocals, but I liked how they varied the sound of it up. The sound of the guitar, the sound of the drum, the breakdowns, all that is varied enough to make it still interesting in some way. However, man, the vocals, while not always monotone screaming, it's close to it. It's I'd say 90% is just this dude screaming at the Same, it feels like the same level, the same tone over and over, and it is an immediate turnoff for me. When I got through the first song, I was like, oh man, the whole album's going to be like this. You could just tell just by the first song what the vocals were going to be like. But, I didn't hate the first song. It's heavy enough to be like, okay, somebody's probably going to die at this concert. That's what it feels like, There's going to be a mosh pit, and somebody's getting knocked unconscious at least.
That guy will be murdered.
There will be murder, sir. There will be murder. The reviews on this album are kind of varying. I know we got a whole album to go here, but let's just real quick. I'll tell you, Ghost Cult Mag gave this a 7 out of 10. And as we go through the rest of these songs, I'll throw in some other websites that pulled this or put together a review. They said it was a 7 out of 10, and there was a lot of, I would say, references to, well, this is what you get. This is what was expected.
That's what you get when you mess with us.
A lot of people are calling, at least 3 different websites were talking about the downfall of deathcore. So they said that while this album did a great job of representing deathcore, it's still stagnant. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. We got a lot more to go.
I think unless you start getting into like the, I forget the genre, the specific genre name, but like the more of the progressive, like math, science fiction oriented kinds of death metal, there isn't a whole lot of places to go. But they've also been saying that about death metal and deathcore for years. It was like, thrash, amongst the thrash bands, there was the race to play who could play the fastest, and Napalm Death won, and that was in the 80s. They're still doing this. This music hasn't really gone away. Cannibal Corpse, even with a new singer, is still making new albums. I think Deicide, not that long ago, put out a new album. We still get new Death and Obituary and Morbid Angel. We've covered some of these bands on here. So, the idea of, the downfall of, unless people aren't buying this stuff or listening to it on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, I would hesitate to say it's falling down.
I'll read to you what Metalwani says. Metalwani.com had an article about the album. It says, deathcore continues to be one of the most maligned subgenres of extreme metal. Admittedly, we are in the swan song of the genre with a myriad of mediocrity and the consuming hive mind turning their sights towards more progressive sub and micro genres. So maybe it's a factor of like there's so much more out there.
I would say it seems to me like he just made an argument for the genre is evolving.
Well, if you're going to lump that in, or are there genres pulling away from it? That's the thing. I don't know.
Well, that's certainly something to consider. In the meantime, let's go and check out our next track. This is New Gods. That was pretty basic. It was pretty much right to the point.
Doesn't stand out amongst the rest.
No. These next two, though, are pretty rockin' tunes. These next two are probably my favorites on here.
Yeah. Props to Jesse Beeler, the drummer.
Mm-hmm.
when you hear 10 songs and you think, how does the guy have arms left? How does the guy have legs left? I mean, there are some. It's just like a machine gun going off sometimes. Mm-hmm. The drums are insanity. I want to
share this with you. The background says Andy Marsh, who wrote the lyrics for several of the album songs, named Politics, Privatized Prisons, Environment and the Planet, Human Organ Harvesting.
That was Human Target. Human Target was about organ harvesting.
You would not know that from the video. And the pharmaceutical industry as key topics. Marsh noted the contribution of the band's new drummer, Jesse Beeler. He gave a lot of really fresh ideas as far as how to push and pull with the verses and incorporate some groovy elements and breakdowns. He adds, this technical Meshuggah-esque element. He adds this technical Meshuggah-esque element. So.
Oh, okay. Got it. Well, yeah. I mean, there's there's elements there of all that, and just like they had mentioned in the songs, there's a song on here I was reading in one of the reviews that talks about like rape. It's either rape culture or it's about abuse, something along those lines. This is a very angry band. These guys have a lot on their mind, and Australia, I mean, they're already discontent anyway, just because they're Australians.
They're mad that someone took away all their guns.
they are going, yeah. Oh man. So anyway, no, I love Australia. We made a funny criminal comment there on our Metal Hammer of Doom Extra. They're all criminals, Mark. Remember?
Yes. They were a criminal. They were a criminal colony like 1,000,000 years ago. So Kerrang gave it 3 out of 5, and Blabbermouth gave it 1, 2, 3. Why do they use so many stars?
Dude.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They gave it more than half.
Oh, okay. All right. Look at Kerrang, though, okay? Because I pulled that rating here off. You said it was 3 out of 5. It's actually it said rating was KKK, and I was like, wait a second. I know what they were doing, but Dick.
All right, let's move this party along here. The next one is called Death Squad Anthem. Here we go. Oh, shit, Jesse. 21st Century Death Squad.
Hell yeah, dude. That's a good one. That is probably one of my favorites off of here. My only notes to that song was this one's pretty decent. So
blasé about this whole album. You're like, nah, it's whatevs. It's whatevs.
It's just not enough for,
what are you growling about?
It's the damn vocals, man. It's just like, okay, do something different. That's all that needs to be done to make me go, okay, I want to listen to this. But instead, it's just screaming at the same level.
What was the last one that you were like, yeah? Because I feel like we're back in this thing of one of us really like something and one of us not so hot. What was the last one? It might have been the Texas Hippie Coalition, where I was making fun of them incessantly, And you were like, "It's not that bad." I'm like, "Shut up."
Probably.
Push you downstairs.
Real quick, Angry Metal Guy. We're not going to get into his overall review, but he does specifically call out Death Squad Anthem as it has big, simple riffs and another catchy refrain, again showcasing McMahon's knack for rhythm and phrasing.
Yeah, this is one of the standout tracks to me. It was super groovy. You know, it definitely had my body moving. I like the chorus. Obviously, it's a very catchy chorus. You know, this is one of those. This is why, like, if we were still kind of doing the show as kind of, well, we don't have a whole lot to talk about, let's just tell stories. This would be one of those episodes where we'd have to listen to, like, Robert Cooper tell us about his dating life. Because in all honesty, like, it's one of these where I listened to it a bunch of times and I liked what I was listening to, but there's not a lot on here. Here's where I disagree with you. There's not a tremendous amount of differentiation in the album to warrant a lot of talking.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a lot of grist for the mill here. It's kind of, you know, some of the songs are groovier than the others, and that's kind of all I have to say about it.
Yeah.
They maintain a pretty high level of heaviness and brutality that I enjoy. But I think that's because, like, for me, this is music I'm listening to when I'm, like, putting away laundry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or I'm sweeping the floor or something, or I'm going for... these days I'm going for a lightly brisk walk.
Yeah, it's brain dead music. I mean, it's something you don't have to think about. Number one,
yeah,
it's completely filled with aggression. WallOfSoundAU.com, which I would assume AU stands for Australia, but I don't know. Says Death Squad Anthem has a guitar riff that's eerily similar to Puppet Master, which possibly proves the band's songwriting process is becoming stale. Did you? Now I assume they're referencing Metallica's.
No,
that's Master of Puppets. What's Puppet Master?
From their previous album, Dear Desolation, there's a song called Puppet Master.
Ah, okay, all right. So they're saying, which possibly proves that the band's songwriting process is becoming stale. I don't know. We just talked about the genre possibly falling away and not being able to do something new with it. I think you're right where, you know, the genre evolves. We've got that. We've got to move into something new for fear of becoming stale.
Right.
And Thy Art Is Murder is like, no, we're here and we're going to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
I've been hearing this argument since the 90s, and it's like there are some people they just want Cannibal Corpse and Slayer and, you know, these super brutal heavy bands to just make the same album over and over again. And that's it. You know, we're going to listen to Mayhem's going to put an album out towards the end of September, which we're going to cover. And if you think you hate this album,
I can't wait to hate that one.
You know, like, so for every, like, The Art Is Murder or Mayhem, you know, you get a Cradle of Filth, or you get a Dimmu Borgir, which is more of an experimental sound, a more orchestral sound, where they're doing, you know, a gothic sound. They're doing interesting things with the same bass kind of music. And there are people who fucking hate Cradle of Filth for that reason. Like, I remember I was in a band in high school, and I remember there was this death metal band called Rigor or something or other. I don't know.
Rigor Mortis.
Rigor Sardonicus, that's what it was. And, you know, my band goes on first, and we're kind of silly and all over the place, and we're playing with music and just having a lot of fun on there. We're kind of like just a traveling circus. And I remember I walked off stage, and then one of the guys was like, I think he was in the grade above me. He was like, "Why? What the fuck, man?" And I'm like, "What do you like? What's the issue, sir?" And he was like, Why can't you just play music? Ooh. You know, why do you have to be a clown?" And I'm like, "I am putting on a show, sir. I am trying to entertain people." You know, and like him, it was him, another guy, and a drum machine, if I remember correctly.
Rigor Sardonicus has a Wikipedia page.
Really?
Yes, Apocalypse Damnare, CD 1999. Principia Sardonica came out in 2004. Valus ex Umbra de Mortuus came out in 2008. And Ego de Ego Voss Came out in 2012.
Well, I'll be dipped in buttermilk.
American doom metal band from Long Island, New York. Strong Island.
Huh.
Now,
I don't remember any of these people.
There's that fuck. I see him. That's the guy.
Years active, 88, which would have put me in junior high at the time, to current. Wow. Okay.
That's crazy.
I hope I'm remembering this right, and I'm not making this up, but it does say it's from Long Island. They're from Long
Yeah,
Island,
dude, they're
so
from Long Island, so that tracks.
shout out to you guys.
Thanks for giving me shit.
I don't think anyone's mentioned this band in a long time.
No, dude, I'm curious. Let's see if they're on Spotify.
Let's see. Their last album was 2012, and it doesn't have a Wikipedia link.
Yeah, Rigor Mortis is the top result that we're getting there. Let's just see. We'll add Sardonicus. Oh, they're there.
Woo!
There they are. All there. Oh, wait. There is a 2018 EP, Redente Mortis. They're still putting shit out, Mark. You need to get the band back together, buddy.
No, I don't think we'll be doing that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move this to my absolute favorite song of the evening on this album. This is Make America Hate Again. There's some big sound in that song, man.
I agree. Again, just like you said, this is one of the better ones off the album.
Yeah.
They do a good enough job to make this one interesting. And I'm like, okay, this one stands out amongst the rest.
All right, we need to do an experiment.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to do it on mine because, like, I'll freeze and beach ball and no one will be able to understand us and it'll be terrible.
Here.
Wicca. Can you go on your Spotify and just for in the search engine, just type "Make America" and see how many different songs come up?
America.
Because I am proposing that there are now so many bands doing the "Make America Something Again" gimmick because of Donald Trump that you could actually make an entire playlist of just "Make America" songs.
No, it actually trails off after about 10. And
well, share. What are the good ones?
Yeah, well, we've got "Make America Hate Again," which we just heard. "Make America Great Again" by Pussy Riot. "Make America Great Again" by Frank Turner. "Make America High Again" by MD49.
Sure.
"Make America Great Again!" by Joy Vila. And then "Make America Hate Again" by Grace Petrie off the album Heart First Aid Kit. Okay. And then "Make America Hate Again." Oh, wait a second. We just talked about that. That must be the single. And then, after that, it becomes just stuff that has "Make America" in there. Here's one called "Sort the Mail." I'm just kidding.
I sort the mail.
Make it in America. That's what the next one is called. "Make It in America."
Actually, you know what I was thinking of? I was thinking of what's the Chuck D's "Be Real" Rage Against the Machine band? Prophets of Rage.
Oh, Prophets of Rage. Okay,
yeah,
sorry,
Prophets of Rage.
I was thinking of the other guy.
Wrong guy from Cypress Hill, buddy. Prophets of Rage, where it was. I don't think it was an actual song, but like their tour was called "Make America Rage Again."
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they fly over.
Jeez. Oh, that's great.
I don't want to get off on like a ministry rant here.
Oh, why not?
Because I've said it all before, and if you want to hear me say that all
your listeners ain't heard shit. So
okay, for all the Podcoin listeners, your movements mean nothing. These bands, look, I don't take anything away from the creative process, and you want to put your soul out there, you have something to say, by all means say it. I certainly do, and I'm not against that, but like, just know that you're pissing in the wind. I see like "Make America Hate Again," and I see the topics we picked for this album are blah blah yakety schmackety. It's like, great, I'm glad those things interest you. You're first of all, you're a death metal band. 2 people have heard of you. Your reach is minimal. And
we expect you to be angry. You're not doing anything new.
Yeah. Something I was talking to my father-in-law about a few weeks ago, and my dad yesterday, Monday rather, and we were talking about like the reason why the Democrats lost the last presidential election and why they struggle in certain elections depending on where the country is at any particular time. And part of the reason is that if everybody who was a potential voter, who's allowed to vote in this country, right, 18 years or older, not a felon, et cetera, if you could vote and you did vote, it's entirely probable that Donald Trump would have lost the election. There would have been enough, if all the youth voters, if all the Twitter dummies had actually gone to the polls and voted, he might have won one of those swing states that gave him the country. I'm not saying he would have won by lost by like a landslide or anything, but it only took a few thousand votes. Mm-hmm. And historically, and this happened, I want to say in the second Bush election, there was something else. There was another. I know, Barack Obama won 2 terms, so those aren't really good examples of what I'm talking about here. But I definitely feel like the second Bush term, and then this Trump presidency, which I'm not making any kind of editorial comment on either one. I am saying the following: that in both cases there was a huge youth movement to try to get out the vote. Get out the youth vote. Get out the people who will not be served by the average Republican administration, in theory, all of that, and so you have all of these issues and things that appeal to youth voters, and then the polls open, and it's my dad and your dad and and grandpa. They all showed up to vote, and they typically vote one way. They certainly vote their self-interest, which doesn't always jive with the youth self-interest. And what do you know? And I remember, especially after the second Bush presidency, Randy Rhodes, who was a liberal radio host, she worked for Air America for a while. I think she's the only one that survived that terrible radio station. Was just like, I'm fucking through with all of you. She's like, you people, you come to the concerts and the rallies, and you get on, and you get on your computers and you say all this shit, and then when it's time to actually get up and vote, you don't go.
Yeah.
So, to surround this back to an album like this, it's like, I'm sure these guys sitting in the bubble that they sit in are just like, look at us, we are commenting on the state of the world, aren't we? Fuck off.
Yeah, it's one of the things that stuck out to me after this most recent election was, again, I say recent, I mean, shit, it isn't recent anymore, Mark. But the last election was that, there was people complaining left and right about what had happened. And I was like, I'm really curious as to the percentage of how many of you complaining voted.
Right.
I would hope that it would be 100%. But if that were the case, we'd be not in the same situation we are right now. We'd most likely have a different president.
If everybody in the 18 to 30 year old age bracket actually voted, there's no way Donald Trump wins in 2016.
I know it. No way.
And again, that's not a commentary on him as a person but you just have to look at the numbers, and then look at the percentage of people who voted and what the age bracket was. Fucking kids don't vote. They just don't vote.
Nope.
And so the Democrats are all, this is why there's always these movements to like get illegals and criminals to vote, because like without them they'll lose elections for the most part.
Are they going to be so discontent now though that they are going to do something about it?
I don't know, man. There were people afraid of being drafted during the second Bush presidency. I remember that distinctly.
Really?
Fucking idiots in this country who don't pay attention to shit and just vote their feelings and voice their feelings. Were like, I remember going to dinner with a girl I was hanging out with and her friends. And they were all like, pretty left people. And I remember this guy sitting across from me, and he's like, I'm so afraid that at any time the government's going to come and drag me and force me to go to Iraq. I'm like, are you talking about being drafted? He's like, yeah. He's like all dramatic about it. I'm like, eat your fucking sandwich, you puss. Number one, Donald Rumsfeld, who was the Secretary of Defense at the time, said over and over and over and over and over and over again, and I actually told him this. I was like, he has said any number of times that a draft army is kind of useless and not the best army to have, and that we have more than enough soldiers. Now, granted, at the height of everything going on in the Middle East, we started taking from like the National Guard and shit, which they weren't supposed to be doing. But we certainly didn't go to a draft. And he was like, a draft army is not the army we want. It's not the army we're gonna use. We'll withdraw before we fucking have a draft army. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and I told him that. And like everybody at the table kind of gave me the cold shoulder, and the girl was like, "You were really rude to my friend."
Just trying to make him feel better here.
I just stating facts, but
he didn't want to be drafted. I told him, "Don't worry, man. There's nothing to worry about."
I mean, look, like no, I many years later, I understand girls and liberals don't like facts. It bothers them. It itches their skin, makes them break out in hives.
Oh boy.
My dad were here right now. He'd punch me right in the throat. And I deserve it.
Listen, Boobala.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He called me Boobala on the podcast. That's funny.
I remember.
All right. Speaking of being punched in the throat, this next one's called Eternal Suffering. That's enough of that. Yeah, that one definitely leans more on the side of like a traditional death metal. It's the longest song actually at 5 minutes and 5 seconds, and it's a little too lacking in rhythm for me.
Yeah. So Riff Magazine gave this kind of a positive more of a positive. You're all right. More of a positive spin. It says, Eternal Suffering features lightning-fast blast beats over atmospheric riffing, respective high-end ambience and haunting tremolo-picked melodies add a compelling counterbalance to the ruthless aggression. Ruthless aggression. In the rhythm section. I was not impressed with this one either.
No, I was not. I was not.
I think I stopped taking notes.
My notes are two squares connected to make them look 3D. A picture, a smiley face.
Yep, this is the guy. A stick figure. Look, I made a flip book.
In junior high, I was doodling on a paper, and I because I can't draw for fucking shit, I would start with like a traditional symbol of something, and then I would just sort of like go off that symbol and do other stuff with it. Like, and I remember, and at one point, like I was just drawing swastikas, and then like going off the swastikas, doing stuff, and my fucking teacher, who was Jewish, walked past me, and he was like,
"Damn,
what the fuck is this?
Why are you doing this, son?"
And I'm like, and I like, he was like, "What's this all about?" I was like, "I was really bored, sir. Like, nothing personal."
At our county courthouse down here in Langford, you walk into the courthouse, and there are you would be immediately taken aback if you weren't from around the area and did not read, because they post signs just about every corner of this. But anyway, our floor of the county courthouse is laid out with what looks like to be thousands of swastikas. Yikes. But what you find out is it's actually a reverse swastika, and it was used by like some type of Indian tribe.
Yeah.
So you need an explanation when you walk into a damn courthouse and you see that.
I from what I remember, and I don't know the whole history of it, like the swastika, I think it's in and of itself is like an innocent symbol. Like it's been used in different areas. It was adopted by the Nazi Party, and so now it's the symbol of evil, yes. Essentially, and it's a horrible thing. And we do not endorse Nazism on the Metal Hammer of Doom or the Rad Religion Broadcasting Network. I just would like to make that obviously clear.
Yes, please.
I can't believe I actually have to say that out loud, but yeah, it's actually like a fairly common enough symbol, and it's been used in a bunch of other places.
Yeah, interesting. Yep. Speaking of swastikas. Hey, speaking of swastikas,
this next one called Welcome Oblivion. How about that?
All right, bring it on.
All right, here we go. Alrighty, Jesse, that one was just kind of there.
It's all there for me, sir. All of it is there.
It's all there. It's all the way out.
It is all there.
Oh, did I tell you I looked up the lyrics to that? They never said "I'm all the way out," which is what I thought it was. It's "I'm all the way up."
All the way up.
Yeah. You don't remember this whole conversation we had?
Is this the Mountain Dew commercial?
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember this.
Yeah, I actually Googled it in my fucking boredom. And I'm like, oh, they are saying I'm all the way up.
we need answers. We need answers. That's just the way it is.
Right.
So Angry Metal Guy gives the album a 2.5 out of 5. He says, this time around, Thy Art is Murder have decided to ramp up the Lamb of God influences. I can hear that, yes, for sure. And their sound considerably, and lean a bit more on Poland core.
What's Polish core?
Poland core. He says, I think he's talking about, well, I don't know. He says, I don't know if these are band
Why
names.
can't he just say deathcore from Poland?
Poland core. In parentheses, he has hate and pre-terrible behemoth. So, there you go. Human Target will likely keep Thy Art is Murder where they are, maybe acquiring a few fans who have gotten into extreme metal through the Lamb of God gateway by emphasizing those elements of their sound more than on Dear Desolation. His final thoughts were the upside to an album like this is that it's easy to listen to, as it demands precious little of the listener.
Yep.
Agreed. I can throw on Human Target and be entertained for its duration, and that, like this record, is okay.
Yeah, this is a good running album. No,
I can feel that.
Yeah, it just keeps you up. You know,
fast pace. There is no snoozer in this bunch.
Nope, it's pretty straightforward. All right, speaking of straightforward, let's keep this party moving on. Though I'm sure everyone loves to hear our meanderings about politics and whatnot. This is Atonement. Okay. I think we need to medley the next three.
So what do we got left here? We have
Voyeurs into Death.
Voyeurs into Death.
Eye for an eye, for an eye, for an eye. Sorry.
What is that?
That was Soulfly.
Oh, nice.
And then Chemical Christ. Chemical warfare, chemical warfare, chemical warfare, warfare.
It's great when the song titles remind you of a completely different band.
Yes, and a completely different genre, as a matter of fact. It was Dead Kennedys, by the way.
Nice.
Chemical warfare. All right, you got anything for me? Because if not, we're gonna hit these last three plugs.
Let me see if I can pull. I've got I pulled a bunch of stuff from reviews here. Wall of Sound. We're going to do our final thoughts at the end of these three. So Wall of Sound says Voyeurs into Death is arguably the album's heaviest. So we'll find out when we hear that. Kerrang! I did want to read a little bit of what they had said off their website. It says there is something genuinely unpleasant about Thy Art is Murder. The Sydney Deathcore Quintet's music is an unrelenting, tireless attrition of brutality and aggro, a migraine of sound, almost produced not to make the heaviness sound sonically weighty, but for a maximum abrasion. I did notice somebody, I can't remember which one of the reviews I was reading, but they were kind of giving the production and of the vocals shit, because they said it sounded muddy. And I think there's a case you can make to say, okay, well, they did that on purpose. Because
when I think of muddy, I think of doom metal.
Okay. I didn't find it jarring to where I couldn't understand it or something like that. I mean, he's screaming for shit's sake. I'm not supposed to be able to make out what he's saying. But I think there's also the aesthetic of the of the band that you don't want clean sounding harsh vocals. You don't want it to be well overproduced.
You want easy listening rap.
Yeah, put it on, baby. Sit back and relax.
I don't know why I thought about that, but that was on my mind today.
Easy listening rap?
It's a line from, like, I think Robert Townsend says it in one of his old movies.
Oh.
Do you know who Robert Townsend is?
Robert Townsend is a director, isn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He was an actor for a little while. He was actually just on the last season of Black Lightning.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yep. So it's funny. I'm going through the schedule today. I'm just kind of looking at, because what occurred to me is I'm putting stuff on the schedule and not checking to see if anyone actually watches this stuff.
Oh yeah, hence the message. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah. So like I can usually depend on you for a couple of different things. Like, hey, watch this so we can talk about it, or you're already going to watch it, so that's fine. But then there's the occasional thing like, no, Mark, like putting your foot down, like I'm not watching this, And then there was stuff that I could usually depend on Winfrey for, but I'm learning to depend on him a little less because he just fucking hates everything. So why bother? Which makes me have to go back to the well to see who's available to watch things. So I was reaching out to a few people today, like, are you actually going to watch this? Because if not, I should probably take it off the schedule. I have no one to talk about this with. Are you watching any of the Disney Plus things? Like, you watching The Mandalorian? Like, you're not the world's biggest Star Wars fan last time I checked.
No, I mean, I don't hate Star Wars, but I'm not going to be finding that show to watch. Mm-hmm. What else is on Disney Plus? The Star Wars related, most likely, I'm not going to be rushing out to see. The Marvel related stuff?
Yeah, the Marvel
probably.
Stuff.
I could definitely make an exception to watch some of that if need be. Like
right.
The What If series, I'd love to watch the What If series if I can.
Sure.
That's
boy, the problem is going to be what comic do we look at?
There's plenty of those. They're mostly all one shots.
Right.
But yeah, that'll be fun. But yeah, you could definitely, if there's a Marvel related show, I'll make an effort.
Okay. Well, that's good. And I'm sure everyone enjoys listening to the scheduled cast.
It's a staple here on the Metal Hammer of Doom and any other Radulich and Broadcasting Network production.
Call Ronnie Adams, tell him we're scheduling.
The schedule, sir.
All right, let's hit this medley and get on out of here and go watch Snowfall. Try to put this day behind me. This is Voyeurs into Death, Eye for an Eye, and Chemical Christ.
Shoot into the cages. Institution no enslavement. Monitor resistance. Smother all existence. Minimalistic mentality. This this mental penitentiary. Minimalistic society. Orienting the dead. Embedded in your psychotic. Listen like the lights. The devils in the water. The dark passes for the ember. Provide the knowledge and the body.
I'll give this a solid B.
Okay.
You
All
know,
right.
when I think about all the stuff I gave A's to, and I'm just like, yeah, this is fine. It was, if I'm playing video games on my phone or something like that, this is a nice distraction. And I'm like, oh gosh, if I'm gonna say that I can't really give it higher than a B.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nothing that completely stands out. I agree. Me personally, as if you couldn't tell, just to rehash, ladies and gentlemen, I doubt I'm revisiting this one anytime soon. Well, when it is all said and done, it most likely stays in the bottom half of my top albums for the year. There's brutality in buckets on this thing. I mean, it's endless. It's endless. But again, my key complaint is the vocals just don't take enough of an advantage and an opportunity to have the opportunity to make my ears want to listen. It just doesn't grab me to go, okay, what's this guy have to say, and why do I want to listen to this? And that's a very, very strong component of music that I personally enjoy. Other people, mileage may vary.
Your mileage may vary. You should put that on a t-shirt, Mindy.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeedy. All right. So that's that. Next week, we've got Rage of Light Imploder. We've got a couple of Swamp Thing shows here that you can go back and listen to. Alan Moore was on the Source Material podcast. He said, fuck Firestorm. So
we get some intimate thoughts from old Alan.
So if you want to check out our Source Material podcast on the Saga of the Swamp Thing, Volume 1 by Alan Moore, it's a good listen. We had a very good discussion with Chris Bailey ×3. So go ahead and listen to that. Jesse and I then got together and we reviewed the new Swamp Thing, now canceled Swamp Thing series from DC Universe. Again, we had a very flowing, fun conversation there. It was a good time, right?
I had a great time.
Yeah. When Jesse and I get together, we just kick back. I mean, it's not some of the stilted conversations I have with some of the other folks here. You want to make sure, Jesse and I, we just shoot the shit.
That's that's all that people want to hear. They don't want to hear us lay out a bunch of facts, for shit's sake.
No, we kick the ball back and forth.
Do.
Tomorrow on trial, we'll be looking at the 1982 Swamp Thing movie. So look for that in the archives.
Barbooby.
Andrea Barbooby. Look for that when it drops. And Friday, we've got Good Omens. Me, Jesse, and Al Sedano will kick that around.
Have you started any of that yet?
I finished it.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm almost done with Krypton at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to start that.
And then I got to watch next week. I got Hannibal and Legion. I got to watch on top of everything else. We also got some boxing we're going to be doing. We got Vladimir Shishkin versus DeAndre Ware. Me and Robert Winfrey will watch that and do commentary. And then we're back again. Tag team back again. That's an old reference. I'm an old man.
Rhymes.
We're gonna do commentary for Sergey Kovalev versus Anthony Yard. On ESPN Plus, and maybe in the evening time, in between time, we might do Figueroa versus Chacon. We'll see. I got to talk to Mr. Kakato and see if he's available. Otherwise, we'll just keep it to that one. We got the Screaming Boy podcast on Sunday, and then August ends with DC vs. Superman Lobo. We've got Krypton Season 2, like I just said. We've got Rage of Light Imploder. The horror guys over on Damn You Hollywood are going to be doing Ready or Not. I'll be reviewing the Banana Splits movie with one of those folks, the Alexis Hana of Honeysuckle Rose Creations. Me and the prodigal son, Jason Teasley, will review Zombie Tidal Wave. And that's that. Nope, we got coverage for Andrade versus Zhang over on UFC and Chinese Chinaman. So I'm going to wake up dark early in the morning for that one.
Committed.
And then and that's that for August. September kicks off a whole new month of more podcasts. Got Dark Crystal, Rambo, It. We got them all on UHF.
We got them all on UHF.
Jesse, we got a pair of shows that we're doing for the Super Blog team up. One for the Rattledge and Broadcasting Network and one for Source Material. Why don't you tell them all about it?
Yeah, ladies and speaking of Canadians, ladies and gentlemen, check out the Superblog team up upcoming here on the 28th of August. Our good buddy Chris Bailey has put together it's basically a good fun time where a lot of bloggers and a lot of podcasts will come together and discuss a topic, and this topic is going to be immortal. So our contribution on the source material podcast is going to be Vampirella, Roses for the Dead.
Whoa, Vampirella.
Yes, sir. And then the Radulich and Broadcasting Network's contribution will be a movie commentary by Mark, myself, and David Wright. We sit down and we watch Jupiter Ascending.
Oh,
That's
boy.
right.
Do we ever.
He's just a skater boy, and I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, yes, we had a good time watching that. So, yeah, hey, check that out. And then, of course, we have the Unspoken Decades Unspoken Issues podcast right here on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. Our second official episode released today, where we are discussing Magnus Robot Fighter #1. So if you like Valiant comics, you like 90s comics, check out the UnspokenDecade.com and make sure to give that episode a listen. So, Mark Radulich, I think that's it, buddy. You ready to get out of here?
I'm ready to get out of here. All right, thank you everyone for listening to our show tonight. A little shorter than normal, but I think secretly you like that. You're like, just do it. Do it. Get fucking to it already.
Sometimes quicker is better. Ask my wife.
Be well, be safe, and behave.